The message today is your offer isn't rejected. It's the identity hearing it is. How I increased our challenge conversions from 12% to 17%. So ever since we started this in February, we've been now like in the game of doing 2 challenges a month. So 2 5-day challenges a month. So it's been like a whole new kind of full-time job for me, but we're having a lot of fun doing it and just constantly trying to hack the challenge to make it convert more. So here's the truth is that it's not your funnel, it's not your ads, and it's the identity hearing your offer. And so that's the big thing that we're working on right now. And so when you engineer identity transformation, conversion becomes inevitable. And so I'm going to show you how we've been doing that in our challenges. So I'm Jason Forrest. I run a sales and sales management training company. We specialize in premium, high-value, identity-based consumer products and services. We create sales processes for like the Villages of Florida. So you guys know the Villages, right? The Villages, America's friendliest hometowns. I wrote the entire sales experience for that. I wrote the sales experience for Margaritaville. I wrote the sales experience for Heston's mattresses that sell $25,000 to $700,000 mattresses. I also wrote the entire experience for the United States Army recruiters. We doubled their conversion rate to enlist soldiers to serve this great country. And then next month, we're starting to train the United States Marines to help them increase their enlistments as well. So that's who we are, and that's what we do. My personal mission is to ignite the pride, purpose, and respect for professional selling, and to convince salespeople that they matter more than the market. So one of the biggest problems with salespeople is that they're very external versus internal, right? So it's the leads, it's the marketing, it's the product, it's the economy, it's the president, it's the interest rates, whatever it is. And so our whole like mission that we're always trying to do is to convince the salespeople that like you matter actually more than the market. We also believe that when you win the sales experience, you win the sale. So one of the mistakes that people make when it comes to sales is they focus too much on like, I got to convince them to like buy from me and I got to like make the sale happen. And the whole thing is like, shift that. If you actually lower the importance on trying to actually get the sale and you raise your importance or raise your standard on just being the best sales experience the customer can offer, the customer can receive, then like the sale will actually happen. So like, it's like a kind of inverse approach. We also believe that it's possible to achieve 100% conversion rates. That's kind of my life's obsession because I've changed the definition of 100% conversion rate. 100% conversion rate is 100% resolution. So whenever we work with a customer, we always tell them that by the time our conversation is over, I just want you to do something. Like ambiguity is death. Ambiguity is the most crippling disease of the human race. And so just do something. So either go with us, go with my competitor, or do it yourself. But you just got to do something. So our whole goal is we don't want to be ghosted. We don't want to follow up with people. We always say follow up is for losers because we're just following up with you and trying to beg you to do something. We don't want to do that, right? We want you to like have peace, resolution, freedom. That's our whole goal. So everything is about that. So I am ranked #1 sales guru in the world, next to Jordan Belfort, next to Grant Cardone. I got ranked #1, which is pretty cool. Also, Warrior Selling is ranked #1, and Leadership Sales Coaches, our sales management program, is also ranked as the highest sales management program in the country. Leadership Sales Coaches is also used at 2 universities as part of their MBA in sales leadership, which is pretty cool. One of them is High Point University with Nino Cohen, so we're very excited about that. So here's my talk: is how I increased challenge conversions from 12% to 17%. So we do a 5-day challenge focused on remodelers as one challenge, another 5-day challenge focused on home builders. So obviously these are huge industries in America. So you guys have always probably been told that if the housing industry fails in America, the entire economy fails. So like that's our niche is everything related around like the housing kind of world, which again is that kind of big ticket, high value consumer identity purchase, which is why we like to play into those spaces because you're selling a person going from a married person to a divorced person, or to a young couple to young couple that has a baby, or a teenager couple. So all these different kind of identity shifts. So that's kind of the area we like to spend time in. So our package at the end of the week is a $3,000 purchase, and we also have $100,000 corporate contracts that we do on top of that. So again, this is how we've gone from 12% conversion, 70% conversion in that 5-day period. So same offer, same audience. Difference is we engineer belief and not excuses. So here's the 3 levers that we focused on, and I'm like constantly obsessed with trying to just get this thing right. So one is persuasion, which is all about the whole Robert Cialdini thing we'll talk about. So before they actually come to the challenge, what are we doing with their mindset every single day before they come in? Number 2 is during the actual presentation, like every single day of the experience, the proof and protection. And then number 3 is the mindset shift that happens every day, like afterwards. So after the challenge is over, it's the 2-hour like a day challenge. What I'm actually doing like after every day before the next day to actually prime their mind and prime the identity shift to get them ready for the next day. So like that's all the stuff. This is also Childani. He says the moment before a message is delivered can be more important than the message itself. So he's the author of Persuasion Influence, obviously the godfather of all things sales, in my opinion. And so the first lever we focus on is persuasion. So what we do, and what I do, is I create a 10-minute video before each session. And so think about as they're coming into your waiting room before the webinar, before the challenge, it's a 10-minute, literally countdown video, right? So it's getting them ready, but instead of just wasting time with a countdown timer, we actually created persuasion messages that they can pay attention to actually prime their mind to get ready for my message when I come on stage. It focuses their attention on success and authority, prepares the nervous system to say yes. So here's an example of one. During the actual, this has been sped up, but in ours, it'll have a 10-minute countdown timer, and it's only 3 questions, and it's very slow. So it's very slow, and it just repeats those 3 questions over a 10-minute period. What we do, though, just to kind of understand the psychology behind it, is that what we do is I take the message that I'm delivering on each day, and then I reverse engineer it and work with my content team on, okay, what's the pre-frame, what's the persuasion that we need to use in order to prime their mind so that they can be prepared to accept the message I'm delivering on that day. So whatever that is, that's actually what's happening on every single one, is what we do. So it's all very, very engineered, and we're spending a lot of time trying to figure out, was that the right kind of persuasion message? So I love this quote by Daniel Kahneman, Nobel Prize winning psychologist. People don't make decisions based on reality, they make decisions based on the stories they believe. And so our second lever we focus on is proof and protection. And this is what we do actually during the actual challenge. So we do survey data. This is something I taught Dave back in the room. So Dave is obsessed on survey data. And so you taught me the survey data trick, and then I took your technique and I applied it to this concept here that you'll like. So we took the survey data of what Dave taught me to do of figuring out what are the number one problems that our salespeople are having that's preventing them from selling more, and then how will their life improve if they could actually fix that problem. And so we take that survey data, and then we also take the data of, we post-survey them as well based on Dave's recommendation of why didn't they buy the offer, right? And so we take all that information, and then we create testimonial videos to counter-strike the actual objection. So instead of me actually saying, hey, people don't like scripts, and I understand that, but let me tell you a story about Julie and how Julie has no problem with scripts, and here's the thing, I don't do that anymore. Now I just play a video of Julie saying how she's fine with scripts now. So I don't do that part now. I just actually use other people to do that part. The way we do it is we prompt the participant to create the testimonial. So this is actually the thing right here that made us #1 sales training company in the world, is that Global Gurus it's not a pay-for-play performance. So there's a lot of pay-for-play things out there like Inc. Magazine and Selling Power Magazine. They're like, I'm #1 sales trainer in the world. Well, they paid to get on that. So Global Gurus, you don't pay for it. It's based upon the results that you're achieving from the audience you're delivering to in the corporate space. And so the way that we get the audience to say that we're actually giving them results is that every 6 weeks in all of our programs, we have a commencement where they have to actually say, over the last 6 weeks, here's how many sales I can contribute to something that I learned from the last 6 weeks course, right? We have all these new courses constantly happening. And when I first rolled this out with my team 4 or 5 years ago, they're like, we're gonna do what? What if we graduate them and they're like, we can't connect anything to what we actually paid you to do? And I was like, well, then we suck as a training company, we gotta fix it, right? So that's what we do. So we're the only training company I'm aware of in the world from a sales training perspective that actually holds people accountable to, are you actually making money from what we're doing? And so we prompt them. So how do we prompt that? So we take the actual objection. So let's say the objection was, I don't like scripting. Well, I would actually I would prompt in the testimonial video, in the commencement address, it would say, in the past, I didn't like scripting because of blank, but now I realize scripting is beneficial because of blank. So I literally Mad Lib the actual testimonial videos for them. So when they graduate, they literally just read the commencement address on the Zoom, and then we take those clips and then we push them back on the actual challenge. So each testimonial neutralizes an objection. Obviously, does it work? Sales results. Will I sound scripted? Script freedom. Do I have time? more time equals more money. So my obsession right now is, and my team knows this, my team's actually watching right now, is that by the end of November, I said 100% of any objection we've ever received on why people are not buying our challenge, I need a counter-strike testimonial that I can use during the actual challenge itself. So like right now, we're kind of constantly obsessed with trying to figure this thing out. It's easier for us to get them because, again, we have a huge corporate training contract or corporate side. And so all of those corporate people, we're actually getting them to get the testimonials for us for actual challenge, right? So it's easier for us to kind of get it all figured out.
1,170,000, and I have a few others in the works right now.
Which was a $1.9 million sale.
I'd probably say revenues like $3 million.
$900,000 that I've created for the company, I think, in the past few weeks.
I'd say 742,000.
700,000 plus.
So Christine, how does it feel to have written over $4 million in sales and generate over $4 million in revenue in the course in just 6 weeks?
It's exciting. I want to keep going.
Another one? Oh, hold on. Why is it not going? Okay, well, can you push play on that by chance?
It's important to take the time to work on yourself and your strategies to continue to thrive in an ever-changing market.
I used to think thought that the time spent was a lot. I felt that 10 weeks is actually quite lengthy, to be honest. But now that I see that the training took place, I now do realize that the time was well spent.
I was apprehensive about the amount of time that training would take, but now I realize it was definitely worth a while. Very, very helpful. Obviously, it shows in sales.
So you can see, like, that's so critical, right? Because like that's a big one that used to kill our sales a lot. Is our initial 6-week program is 2 hours a week for full immersion for the 12-week sales process that we teach, and then it like goes down to 1 hour a week. But for salespeople, it's about taking them out of the field and actually removing the opportunity for them to talk to a customer, and they don't like that. And so we had to like show them, and like our brand promise on our website is the 24 hours after your weekly dojo session with us will be your highest conversion rate like hour of your week. And most of our clients, especially on our corporate side, like they'll be resistant for the 2 hours in the beginning, and then like they'll actually come back and add more time afterwards because the salespeople are selling so much, like because of our actual calls, because of our coaching session. So this is Joe Dispenza. You can't create a new future while holding on to the emotions of the past. Obviously, Dan was talking a lot about identity. So my background is in neuro-linguistic programming, accelerated evolution. It's all about removing charged and high performers. My wife and I always kind of joke if we stop ever training salespeople, we could go work for any professional sports team and be a sports psychologist. We have the same exact degrees and certifications as them. We just believe that salespeople are corporate athletes and they should be trained and developed the same way that an actual professional athlete should be trained. So we're big followers of Joe Dispenza. And so the third lever we focus on is the mindset shift. And so what we did is we researched, I actually went to ChatGPT and I said, okay, give me the top 10 reasons that people don't change. And then I said, then I want you to stack them in order of the most difficult to change to the least difficult to change. And then I created videos to shift each of the 10 reasons. And then of course, like during the actual video, I lowered my tone because I'm a sales trainer, so I speak really fast in these webinars. But I wanted to be more hypnotic, and I wanted to be more trance-oriented, and I wanted to speak to their subconscious mind. So I'm sure most of you guys know, but when it comes to hypnotherapy is just the basic idea of tying up the conscious mind so you can implant suggestions and talk to the subconscious mind who wants to thrive and survive and succeed. And so I wanted to basically do that. And so I created a nightly message that speaks to the subconscious mind to work on their identity shifts that they needed to have. And so these are the 10 reasons. So you can take a picture of this. These are 10 reasons, literally in order from like the hardest to the easiest why people don't change. So identity and misalignment, belief in congruence, ego protection, fear of loss, cognitive overload, mistrust of source, lack of incentive alignment, no early wins, culture, peer pressure, and comfort with status quo. And so again, each of my message is me basically kind of talking them through this concept.
Hey, Challenger, it was great seeing you today when I hopefully taught you a new opportunity, a new way to act and speak to your buyers. And now I want to speak to your mindset. You see, I believe we're all doing the best we can with the resources we have, and those resources are what we say, do, and think about. So it's where most training fails is that they don't address all three. So in this lesson, I want to spend just a few minutes of your time with what you think about. See, you didn't get into this business.
So each one is, again, it's like 6 to 10 minutes tops. And then, of course, the next day, we always start off with like wins, learnings, or insights, and they put in the chat box, did you guys watch the mindset message? And what was one thing you got out of it? And that sort of thing. So that's usually how we start the, in addition to whatever the challenge assignment we gave them was. So we're always giving them like 3 things to do. So something to think about differently, something to say with a customer, and then something to do. So it's think, say, do, are the 3 elements we always focus on. So again, here's the big idea is stop running challenges that educate and start running challenges that transform identity. Like that's the main concept that you have to figure out. Again, just like Dan said, it was awesome. Where's Dan? Yeah, it was awesome what you said. I mean, you got to kill the old identity. I'm totally going to give you credit, and I'm going to actually incorporate that in one of my mindset messages on the next challenge. It'll be great. But that's a really cool concept. I heard a pastor actually from our church. He has a common saying that he says is that you have to kill the thing that's killing you, which is like a cool concept. So maybe you think of that when you said that. And so that's the main obsession, right? You got to start running challenges that transform the identity. So you have to think about like who is the person that they come in as, and who do you want them to become at the end? And like so for me, these salespeople come in as victims, and I want them to become in as warriors. I want them to leave as warriors, right? So a victim is someone who's very external, and they'll say the reason why I'm not selling is ... And I want them to be a warrior, which is the reason why I'm not selling is because I'm just one skill away from a better version of me. I'm just one skill away from a mindset shift, from a process shift, from a behavioral shift. Like I'm always one skill away. So I want them to take personal ownership over that. And so that's our big kind of like shift that we're trying to make over the week, is trying to convince them of that. And that's why also I always tell them my big thing I'm telling them is I also want to demonstrate what sales freedom is to you. And sales freedom is accomplished by 2 questions. And that's, did you give the customer the best sales experience of their life? And number 2 is, did you help them achieve resolution? And so now I'm also telling them at the beginning of the challenge too, that guys, I don't care if you guys go with me or not at the end. All I care about is, do I convince you that you matter more than the market? And I convince you that you can do anything that you choose to do. And the way that you prove that to yourself and others is that you do something different. You invest in yourself, either through me or for my competitors or through doing yourself something, but you got to do something different. And that's the big ask that I have of them at the end of the week. So again, you're not teaching belief, you're forging warriors of belief. And if you forge them right, they will march into your offer. So my goal in 2026 is to have a 100% conversion rate in our challenges. That's my goal. So I'm obviously not there yet. And we're renewing an inner circle in 2026. So I'm very excited about that. Russell just wrote a foreword of our newest book called Sales Freedom: From Pressure to Purpose-Driven Selling. So I appreciate you writing the foreword for the book. And so my goal, my kind of fun thing that I'm going to do for you guys, I want you guys to hold me accountable to this, is I want to track the journey, right? So my goal is, how close can I get to 100% conversion rate in a challenge in 2026? so that's my goal. And so I want to come back on stage and say, okay, now we're doing this, and now we're at 30%, now we're at 40%. And so I'm going to keep seeing if I can get to that 100% conversion rate. And again, for me, all it means is that by Friday, 100% of them tell me they're doing something, that there's a resolution-oriented ending, right? That they're not going to stay the same. They're going to make some sort of decision to change, which is important. So here's my ask. Okay, so we figured out, this is a happy accident for us, is that we are in the corporate space. So our whole business model is selling to big companies, right? That's what we do. We sell D.R. Horton and big organizations. And so all of a sudden we now got into the sell to many space, which has been phenomenal. I loved it. It's great. And it's created this weird kind of Trojan horse thing where it's getting us now into the businesses in a different way. So it's a weird kind of thing. And so what's happening that we just kind of stumbled upon is, this is my ask, is that the companies, so let's say you're Rebath remodeling. So we do all the training for Rebath, right? So you're Rebath, and let's say you have this 5-day challenge, right? Okay. And so we got Monday, we got Friday of the challenge, okay? So what we're doing right now is, if we can talk to the owner here, so before the challenge, we can talk to the owner, okay? Talk to the owner here. The salesperson talks to the owner and says a couple things. They'll say, which is really cool. It's actually a super awesome way we're changing the whole conversion right now. So we talk to the owner and say, Okay, so tell us what you're wanting your salespeople to accomplish in the first 5 days. Like, what are you wanting them to like? What do you want to see, feel, hear, accomplish? We get this, and then the salesperson says, well, most owners like you are test driving FPG to see if this is something you want to like pay and sponsor for your entire sales team to do. Is that something you're wanting to do? Are you trying to test drive us and evaluate us? And of course, they say yes. And then the sales team says, great. And my wife, Mary Forrest, she's the most amazing salesperson on the planet. She's the one that created this. She said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and set up a proposal call for you on Tuesday? And I'll basically give you the numbers on Tuesday, which will be usually about 100 to plus contract. So I'll give you this proposal on Tuesday. By then, you'll pretty much know if you like it or not, but you'll have until Friday to decide if you want to actually do it. And the reason why you want to decide on Friday is because I can give you the best terms by Friday, because if you can come on stage on Friday and on the Zoom with Jason and say you couldn't wait for the offer and you wanted to go ahead and do it, then I can be most flexible in the terms. We don't ever change the discount, but we don't change the price, but we'll change like the payment terms or that kind of stuff. So we can do that kind of stuff to incentivize them to make it happen. Well, here's the cool thing, right? Is so far we're batting 1,000. So every single time we can get an owner to talk to the salesperson beforehand, agree to this meeting here, okay? 100% of them are paying for a $100,000 12-month retainer contract or more. And the lifetime value of these contracts are usually $500K or more. So our average client stays with us for about 5 or 6 years, and they just kind of keep paying as we grow with them, okay? So here's my ask, is I'm trying to figure out, right now we're kind of like accidentally getting the owners, right? So if you're like a company of like a home building company or a construction company or whatever, or home building company, you sometimes, most of the time, you just send your salespeople to these things. You pay the $100 a person, salespeople, you go to this, get some training, be fine. Occasionally, the owner wants to experience it as well. And so when that happens, then this is working magically and it's perfect. If I can't get them to do that, then obviously I'm just pitching the salespeople and then I'm playing the long game again because now I get the salespeople to go talk to the owner, and then, which is fine, we're still doing that and it's working, but I'm trying to make the $100,000 in the first week and not take more weeks after that, right? So my ask is, what would you guys do to get more owners to be a part of the challenge so that I can actually play this system, right? Because this is where, so each owner is a $100,000 offer. And again, right now we're 100% conversion rate on those. So there you go.
Is all of your messaging talking to salespeople or to sales managers and owners?
It's talking to the salespeople.
I would adjust that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to get the owner of the business to then put his employees or salespeople into it, right? And
which they're already doing that.
They're already doing it.
Yeah.
Right. They're putting it in the program.
Right. But the owner's not
doesn't
showing
go
up.
through because he's like, that's not my role and responsibility.
Right.
You probably need to create a program that goes right before that, just for the owner to understand how to manage his sales teams.
Okay.
And then that will then make him go through a process, which then would force him to realize where he's failing them as salespeople.
Okay.
Something that Dan Kennedy used to do at their events back when I first got in there is they found that if they brought a spouse to the event, the backroom sales would double. And so they did. Most of the spouses didn't want to be at the event, but they were trying to get. So they would do a day before where they bring in like, and in Dan's world they're like 99.9% men. So the spouse was almost always the women, right? So they did a day before women like entrepreneurial survival thing, and they bring in a famous female person they'd want to hear, and to like warm them up and stuff like that, to make them want to come to the event. And then they were there, and then what happens when the person was at the event, they're more likely to buy. So I wonder if you could do something like that, where it's like someone buys a ticket, a salesperson buys a ticket, and they're like incentivizing them to bring their owner, and there's a special owner pre-day or night before or something special, where they're incentivized to bring that person to that piece that's like specifically for the owner. And then you can speak to them differently about the purpose and the reason and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out some kind of offer in there that would get them to incentivize enough to bring their owners in.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Okay. I know I asked and then I couldn't get the answer. So when you say owners, is it like remodeling companies, small, like custom home builders? Are those all included?
Mm-hmm, yes.
So your system can go to anything. Technically, you're really showing them how to sell with your magic, right? Like, so can you be?
Yes, we train D.R. Horton, we train
Oh,
KF Name,
yeah.
we
So
also, but
you can
we
work
prefer
with
the
this
smaller
niche.
ones because we get the owners on there, right?
Right. So there are, and like I was saying, like in the construction industry, there's a lot of small companies who have like small sales teams, and they have a sales manager who doesn't even know what they're doing, and the owners are suffering because they don't want to teach or what have you. But there are like all these sub niches in those. That's why I was telling you the associations. So if you already get a 17% conversion on the number you already have, so if it's the math and the numbers game, right? Like if you just do the same thing into the other ones, which is all available, I don't know how your front end goes. You do the ads, but you can add the emails and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like when I say it's like cabinet companies, and then there's the granite countertop, like all of them that's related to the builders. That way you're just increasing the numbers. Even if the conversion stays the same, you get more results without even diluting your niche. So that would be one of the things I would do, using the math you already have. Because there's more people in that industry that you can touch, like so many, and they're very underserved because they're not as professional, like nobody's really reaching out to them. That was a big pain point when I was in the construction industry. So it still is a niche, so.
Thank you.
So, all right. So a quick question for you right here. Do you know who the owners are? So if I'm signing up my guys, do you know if I'm in there, how do you detect who the owner is coming in to be able to work this? Do you have a way of that? So when I'm signing people up, or
so in the like initial lead form, we'll know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you know that, something I don't know that just popped in my head. I don't know if it's good or bad, but what I would do is send them a really kick-ass gift to the owner and give them VIP status. Like really edge them up. Like, oh my gosh, you're an owner of this. We're so grateful. They get this gift. It's got like a shirt that they can, or whatever it might be. I'd have to think through the whole package. But I actually get this like $500 package that shows up that's really cool around this whole thing for me as the owner for signing up and signing my team up. And then I get VIP status at your event, because then it points me out amongst everybody that I'm there. I would show up.
Cool.
Because you're making me feel important, right? And just a way to really draw my attention.
So what is the hook for your challenge? What's the headline?
So it's like Sell More Homes Challenge, Sell More Remodeling Jobs Challenge. Like those are the current titles. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Okay, so it speaks. It is speaking to the owner then.
It is. Yeah, I mean it is in that case. Yeah, because those are the people who care the most, right?
Okay. All right. Great job. Are you already speaking or have a display booth at all the big home builder shows, World Concrete?
I do. I'm like, that's my, I'm the most well known in the home building world. So that's like in the International Builder Show.
And
I'm always
seminars and speaker presentations, all that stuff.
I do, but remember I joined this thing to not do that anymore.
Okay.
So that my whole life for 20 years is like schlepping all those seminars. I don't want to do that anymore. So that's why.
Got it. Okay.
That's why I pay Russell for a lot of money to not do that.
Amen.
So I had a thought of the other one of how to do one-to-many. And this, now that you said that, maybe this is not what you want to do.
Okay.
But I was like, with Rebath, I was like, do they have like an employee event that they do and you go speak at that one? And then you're like, hey, you do a free presentation or, whatever presentation. And then, but maybe they've already bought in the package and then you get to announce it and it's a big deal and people are excited about it, or, because if you can do one-to-many, it's like even for us, like as we start scaling pickleball, across the countries, it's like, oh, it'd be really nice to have a centralized, because this identity thing is the worst with salespeople, right? And so it's like, okay, we might have a sales process if we can get over the identity side. But anyways, I was just thinking of like, how could you get into the one-to-many, or like even the garage door place, he started an event or a thing for biz op opportunities too, or training people. Like how do you get onto his stage or get onto even his in his group, to train all of his sales guys. And maybe that's so big that they have their own, but I don't know.
Cool. Thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
Okay. Yes.
Sorry. Okay. On Reddit, there's the small groups, builders. They just talk. And then you take all of those things and then create what Russell was teaching earlier. You create like 4 or 5. It all goes to the same challenge or whatever. Just test 4 or 5 with like a simple headline that calls out that pain point they have that they just talked about within the last 6 months, and then see who bites. And then send all of those and take what works the most to the challenge, like a lot of traffic opportunities from that too.
Cool. Thank you.
You got one? No.
I'm over time. You guys tell me. Okay.
Okay. So I think that for owners, a lot of the times they just don't, giving time is more difficult than giving money. And so my question to you would, it sounds like you're pretty data-based. Do you have any data that shows that when the owner is involved in the challenge, that their team does better?
I mean, I have plenty of data that if the owner is involved, that the conversion rate goes up on the company, but
right. That's what I mean. So I think that would be something that would speak to the owner.
Okay, that's great.
Did the owner start out in sales themselves oftentimes?
Say it again?
Did the owner start out in sales themselves?
No. These owners are all anti-salespeople. So all the owners hate salespeople more than anything in the world.
So prompt them, just like you prompt these other guys, with the testimonial.
Oh, there we go.
I used to think sales sucked, but now I...
Yeah.
Sorry, I know, we talk every week.
That's what I'm thinking. There's got to be an identity shift in the owner too, doesn't there?
It 100% does, yeah. 100%.
Jason, there was a guy in Mexico, I can't remember who it was, but it was brilliant, and he talked about a post-purchase survey, and he asked them a bunch of questions, because that's your warmest chance to get the feedback, but he was only actually interested in one question. We've put it in, it's been phenomenal. And the one question he added was, what if you hadn't bought from us, what would the one reason that you decided not to be? So basically going to exist, because all these are like, every idea here is awesome, but we're all kind of like fishing in the dark trying to give you an answer. Why don't you ask the owners that are existing doing the thing, what would have been the one reason you wouldn't have done this? And then you know what to fix. Is it, I didn't think this was for me? Or is it there wasn't enough networking? Or is it you're asking too much of my time? And then you can craft that back in. So it was this one question of, it was really well worded, which I can't remember it if anyone else came from Mexico, but it was, if you hadn't bought, what would the one reason have been why you might not have bought? And I think that your existing customers will give you the answer as to why it's not landing with them as well. That'd be
That's great. It's awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.